Hello, hello. Good morning.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, Kris. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you perfect.
Perfect. Hello. I'm going to say hello to everyone joining us again. We had a little bit of a break. Hopefully, everyone caught a breath for your wonderful, wonderful presentation. And as I said before, this is Kris Sprague, and I'm very, very grateful, Kris, that you have accepted my invitation and my few emails to get you here. It's so wonderful to have you on board with us for the 15th annual conference. So welcome again.
Great. It's really exciting to be here, and thank you for asking me, Katie.
Thank you.
In
Yeah,
terms
always
of
a pleasure. Always a pleasure. I just wanted to say before you start, actually, in case there is someone in the audience who doesn't know who you are, which I doubt, but please, one comment about your name and your persona. Kris Sprague is the head and project planning and scheduling from Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, and Kris is here with us today to give us a case study, Regeneron case study on creating a competitive advantage for a project management organization or PMO with planning and scheduling center of excellence. And with this, please welcome Kris, welcome everyone. And I'm going to give you a word. And please, if there are any comments that you've got or any questions actually for Kris, write them in the comment section and we'll address them all at the end of your keynote. So thank you again. And this is Kris.
Thanks so much, Katie. Wanted to welcome everyone to this session. As we heard from some of the speakers earlier in the day, everything that is new or improved in an organization happens through projects. It is through projects that you reduce your time to market, improve productivity, and decrease cost. It's through projects that your strategic plan is turned into reality. Successful projects help organizations grow. In this presentation today, I'm going to share my knowledge about PMOs and COEs with you. In doing so, I'm going to use those two acronyms, PMO and COE, quite frequently. A PMO can represent a project management office, a program management office, or a portfolio management office, whereas the acronym COE is going to be used to indicate Center of Excellence. Sometimes this is referred to as a center of competency. So let's take a look at the agenda. I'm going to kick off this presentation by providing you with a brief overview of my background. We'll then move into the next section where I'll define some key terms to get everyone on the same page. We'll then conduct a deep dive on PMOs and COEs. I'll then share my journey of establishing a planning and scheduling center of excellence with you. And finally, I'll summarize the information that was presented. For the past 25 plus years, I've helped organizations achieve their strategy through the successful delivery of portfolios, programs, and projects. The majority of my career has been focused on building and leading project management organizations and PMOs. My educational background includes an advanced master's degree in project management, a master's in business administration, a graduate degree in information management and expert systems, and a bachelor's degree in computer and information sciences. I'm now going to share a couple of interesting facts about myself. I'm one of only approximately 500 people in the world that have 4 certifications from the Project Management Institute, or PMI, as it is commonly referred to. Those certifications are Portfolio Management Professional, Program Management Professional, Project Management Professional, and Risk Management Professional. In June of this year, I was invited to be a guest on the 100th episode of PMI's Projectified podcast, where I discussed the future of project management in the next decade. And in August, I received an award from the PMO Global Alliance, where I was recognized as one of the top 4 PMO leaders in North and South America and one of the top 16 in the world. We're now going to move into the next section. And in this section, I'm going to define the 4 terms that you see on your screen: competitive advantage, PMO, COE, and framework. In 1985, Dr. Michael Porter wrote a book that was titled Competitive Advantage: Creating and Sustaining Superior Performance. His groundbreaking concept of a value chain introduced a whole new way of understanding what an organization does. In the simplest form, a company is comprised of discrete activities, functions, and processes that represent the building blocks of competitive advantage. The takeaway for you is that a competitive advantage can come from anywhere within an organization. PMI defines a PMO as a management structure that standardizes the project-related governance processes and facilitates the sharing of resources, methodologies, tools, and techniques. For the definition of a COE, I'm going to begin by providing a general definition for a center of excellence, and then we're going to take a look at how 3 organizations define the term. The literal meaning of a COE is a place where the highest standards are maintained. A COE is a team, a shared facility, or an entity that provides leadership, best practices, research, support, and/or training for a focus area. It is comprised of highly skilled individuals and experts who disseminate knowledge in an organization and share best practices. The Software Engineering Institute at Carnegie Mellon University defines a COE as a premier organization providing an exceptional product or service in an assigned sphere of expertise and within a specific field of technology, business, or government, consistent with the unique requirements and capabilities of the COE organization. Gartner, which is a global research and advisory firm, describes a COE as concentrating existing expertise and resources in a discipline or capability to attain and sustain world-class performance and value. A COE really combines learning and oversight around a specific area, driving the organization to shift across multiple disciplines together. And finally, a PMI defines a COE as supports the execution of project work by equipping the organization with methodologies, standards, and tools to enable project managers to better deliver projects. A COE increases the capability of the organization through good practices and provides a central point of contact for project managers. The common theme from all these definitions is that a COE brings expertise together to address a focus area or a strategic capability. A COE is typically established at the enterprise or business unit level. And an important point that I wanted to make is that a COE doesn't have to be project management related. Approximately 10 years ago, I worked in a global organization where employees traveled to different parts of the world on a very frequent basis. Filling out, submitting, and processing travel requests and expense reports was a real challenge due to all the currencies involved. So the company established a COE for managing travel and travel reimbursements. And the final term that we're going to take a look at is framework. And the textbook definition for framework is a basic structure underlying a system or concept. In the project management world, there are many types of frameworks, and I'm going to share 2 of those with you today. A project lifecycle provides the framework for managing a project, and a work breakdown structure provides a framework of what has to be delivered. So now that you have a basic understanding of the key terms, competitive advantage, PMO, COE, and framework, the next step is to put it all together and explore the 5 types of PMO frameworks that may be established within an organization. PMOs can be part of a business unit, a division, or a department and oversee a portfolio of projects. Oversight can include activities such as requiring a business case in order to initiate a project, allocating financial and other resources to deliver the project, approving requests to change project scope or other activities. Now, this type of PMO provides centralized management of projects and exists in organizations with multiple projects that deliver strategically important results, such as IT capabilities or new product development. The second type of PMO is a project or program office, and this is established as a temporary entity. When the project or program ends, the office is disbanded. Project support, project services, project controls office, or PMO. This PMO provides services such as project performance tracking, risk management, and similar activities. This shared services model of a PMO exists in organizations with independent or diverse business units that want support while maintaining more direct control over their projects. Enterprise, organization-wide, strategic, corporate, or global PMO or portfolio management office. This is the highest level of PMO within an organization. This type of PMO exists in organizations that have well-established project management capabilities. Their maturity is very high, and the work that they're doing is directly linked to achieving organizational strategy and broad business objectives. And the final type of PMO framework is a COE. And a COE increases one or more strategic capabilities of an organization. So to conclude this section, any of the PMO frameworks can be selected for an organization. The key factors that you're going to need to consider to help determine which type of PMO is selected are the types of projects that are being delivered, the size of the organization, the type of structure the organization has, the degree of centralized versus decentralized decision-making, and finally, the overall corporate culture of the organization. So we've now really concluded the section on key terms, and we're going to move into the deep dive. And I'm going to kick things off by taking a look at why organizations build PMOs and COEs. Organizations establish PMOs for a variety of reasons, but with one core benefit in mind: improving the delivery of projects and programs, which in turn will increase their return on investment, or ROI. COEs, on the other hand, their primary purpose is to increase one or more strategic capabilities. And this may involve developing expertise, skills, or standards. And that's going to vary from organization to organization. A COE may also be established when there are gaps or inconsistent project management processes being applied within an organization. And this may occur in organizations that grow very quickly or are complex. What I've found is that teams often work in silos, not sharing their knowledge despite the parallel evolution of various skills. And a COE can help to identify these gaps and bring together resources so best practices and knowledge can be shared among all the groups. And this creates organizational efficiencies. Now, because COEs are designed to drive innovation and improvement, they also create an organizational structure that encourages the members of the COE to measure, experiment, and push each other forward. By promoting more transparency and more shared results, this can be a very powerful way for the organization to align around common business goals, such as on-time project delivery, rather than individual departmental metrics. We're now going to shift from why do we build a PMO or COE to the core services that a PMO delivers. The list that you see is not meant to be exhaustive. In addition, not every PMO provides every core service that you see in the list. So let's take a look at the first core service, which is strategic planning and strategic alignment. For this core service, the PMO confirms strategic priorities, defines business goals, and ensures alignment of projects and programs to the strategy of the organization. Now, portfolio management is all about prioritization and portfolio reporting. This core service may also include resource management allocation, investment analysis, risk management, and benefits tracking and reporting. Governance is about the framework, functions, and processes that guide activities, and performance reporting is about ensuring that stakeholders have the information they need at the time they need it in order to make educated and informed decisions, raise issues, take actions, and create awareness. The next core service is about establishing standards, developing methodologies, and defining processes, policies, and procedures. A PMO is involved with some aspect of delivery. Depending on how the PMO is structured, that may be leading projects and programs and/or reporting the status of delivery to executive management. In other words, consolidating and aggregating the data. Project support. This core service is about providing tools to automate aspects of the delivery process, and knowledge management is about defining knowledge management policies, managing intellectual property, sharing lessons learned, and promoting collaboration among functions and teams. The core service of talent management is about training, developing career paths, career development, capability and skills development, and certifications, qualifications, and credentials. And the final core service that a PMO can deliver is around organizational change management. And this encompasses conducting readiness assessments, managing resistance to change, improving customer and stakeholder satisfaction, and general stakeholder management. We're now going to shift and take a look at the core services that a COE provides. Once again, the list that you see is not meant to be exhaustive. And in addition, not every center of excellence provides every core service in this list. Standards, methodologies, and processes. This core service is similar to that of a PMO. So let's move on to project management competency. Now, there are two aspects of this core service. The first one being driving the direction and strategy of project management competency for the organization as a whole. And the second one is really down at the individual project manager level to ensure competency development through learning. Project support. This core service includes building strategic capabilities such as schedule management, cost management, scope management, risk management, etc. Knowledge management is about the COE championing and advocating for the sharing of best practices. In addition, the COE may also serve as a hub for portfolio management systems, project management systems, scheduling tools, document repositories, and on and on. And the final core service that a COE may provide to an organization is advisory and coaching support of project management staff and project stakeholders on the application of project management practices. And to wrap up this deep dive on PMOs and COEs, we're going to take a look at the benefits organizations and stakeholders receive from PMOs and COEs. On the PMO side, one of the first benefits that come to mind is around improving delivery. And this really gets to the points of scope, time, cost, and quality. Portfolio optimization. This is about the ongoing practice by which benefits, risk, and resources are balanced and optimized. A PMO aligns projects with strategy to determine if and where any gaps exist in the portfolio, and then makes the appropriate adjustments. And the final benefit that a PMO delivers is improving business outcomes. And this will vary from organization to organization, but let me share a few examples with you. Increasing the number of projects that are delivered on time and within budget, reducing the number of failed projects, increasing stakeholder and/or customer satisfaction. Now let's take a look at the benefits that a COE delivers. The first is around developing a core competency that will provide some type of strategic capability for the organization. Another benefit that a COE delivers is improving service delivery quality. And this is done by encouraging and providing the mechanism for sharing knowledge, documentation, processes and procedures, data, resources, experiences, and best practices across an organization. And the final benefit that a COE provides is to reduce the cost of running the business by eliminating inefficient practices and by reducing the time required for implementation of new technologies and skills. We're now going to move into the next session of this presentation. And in this, I'm going to share my journey of establishing a planning and scheduling center of excellence with you. I'm going to cover the topics that you see on the slide. But before jumping in, I wanted to provide you with a little bit of background on the business problem that the Center of Excellence was established to address. And that was really to improve forecasting accuracy for the 300 projects in our global portfolio. And the scheduling tool that we were utilizing is Microsoft Project and Microsoft Project Online. The two pictures that you see on this slide represent the transformation that the organization went through during the past 2 years. The departure board at an airport really represents the previous state that we were in 2019. If you take a look at the departure board and specifically the departing flights, you'll see that it is limited. Your flight may be canceled or delayed. Do you understand why the flight was canceled or delayed? Was it due to a mechanical problem with the plane, or was it weather related? You don't know because no reason is provided. In addition, there's not a forecast as to when your flight is going to be leaving. And when the Planning and Scheduling Center of Excellence was first established, the schedules that I inherited were similar to that of a departure board because the forecasts were really limited and or inaccurate. In other words, they didn't have the necessary logic to model the work that needed to be performed on the projects and didn't have the associated time it took or durations to actually perform the work. The schedules didn't identify a critical path. Basically, it was a mess. And the picture of the global positioning system on the right represents our current state today in 2021. Now let's assume that you're going to drive 150 miles to reach your destination. Your arrival is forecast to take 3 hours. However, the actual trip may take more or less time depending on the number of factors, including your rate of speed, road congestion, construction delays, accidents, weather, etc. So for example, if you encounter construction delays on your trip, you may not arrive at your destination until 3 hours and 12 minutes. However, if the highway is clear, you may reach your destination in 2 hours and 52 minutes. Our COE implemented a technique known as forecast scheduling, and this approach requires the schedule by itself to produce an accurate forecast on a continuous basis. In other words, it is a dynamic model, and the logic in the schedules work very similar to the way a GPS works. This COE provides 5 core services. I'm now going to walk you through each core service, and we're going to begin with planning. And planning is really all about, at the initiation of a project, gathering information from stakeholders to identify, organize, and optimize the sequence of work to be performed. The next core service is scheduling, and this is about designing schedules to identify what is to be done and when will it occur. Updating is about working with your stakeholders to obtain activity status on a periodic basis in order to ensure that the schedule is current and accurate. Monitoring the schedule is about analyzing the variance between planned and actual performance of the project team. In addition, monitoring may also include proposing options to avoid delays and optimize the schedule. And the final core service is around controlling. Controlling is about managing changes to the approved schedule baseline. And that really occurs once the schedule, the resources, the budget have been agreed to with your stakeholders. So as previously mentioned, the business problem that the Center of Excellence needed to address was to improve forecasting accuracy. And from the perspective of my stakeholders, the figures on this slide clearly depict where we were just 2 years ago and where we are today. So I don't think there's really anything more that I need to say about business results. However, I would like to share with you a number of challenges that I encountered in terms of building the COE. And I'm going to share 3 challenges with you. Challenge number 1 is about getting buy-in from executives and skeptical stakeholders. To function well, COEs first need buy-in from the top to get them planned and implemented. Management must understand how the business is going to benefit. Next, they're going to have to commit to assigning resources. A thriving COE must have executive sponsorship and must have buy-in from leaders throughout the entire organization, as these individuals are going to be solicited for their input and perspective as the COE evolves. In my experience, this can take many conversations and many hours to get buy-in and support from executives and skeptical stakeholders. Challenge number 2. This is about acquiring resources with advanced skills and knowledge. I joined Regeneron for the opportunity to build a planning and scheduling COE from the ground up. There were no other resources at the time. It was just me. And based on my assessment of the situation, the internal resources, namely the project managers, didn't have the advanced proficiency that was needed with the scheduling tool. So I had to build my team with external resources. And I encountered a few problems along the way. Problem number 1 was recruiting Microsoft project experts with experience in the biotechnology and pharmaceutical industry. Many of these companies use commercial off-the-shelf products such as Planisware, PlanView, or Clarity as their scheduling tool. So it was kind of like searching for a unicorn to locate Microsoft project experts who also had a background in drug development. Problem number 2 was about recruiting Microsoft project experts from other industries that do a lot of scheduling. And when you think about companies in other industries that do a lot of scheduling, construction, engineering, oil and gas, and professional services come to mind. And what I found out is predominantly these industries use another scheduling tool, Primavera. So hiring an expert that is very knowledgeable in Primavera doesn't help you when you need experts in Microsoft Project. And problem number 3 is location, location, location. I work at a company that is headquartered in Tarrytown, New York. And for those of you who don't know where Tarrytown is located, it is approximately 30 miles or 48 kilometers north of New York City. Now, this is both an advantage and disadvantage when trying to recruit resources. Being this close to New York City provides people with access to everything the city offers. However, it's also one of the most expensive areas to live in the United States. In addition, snow is usually on the ground between November and March. So the location may be a deterrent for people who prefer living and working somewhere that has warm weather on a year-round basis. Challenge number 3 is demonstrating value. The value that is generated by a PMO or a COE is elusive at best, as it is often hidden in improvements and efficiencies that are intangible and hard to measure. Value, like beauty, is in the eye of the beholder. The PMO or COE may think that it is providing great value to the organization, but do your stakeholders think so? The only way to find out is to ask the question, are we providing value to you? Now, two Ferraris appear on the slide to illustrate a point that I want to make about value. The Ferrari on the left is a toy that a child can drive. The estimated value is between 300 and 500 US dollars. The Ferrari on the right is the real thing, and the estimated value is between 300,000 and 500,000 US dollars. Now, if you ask a child that is between the ages of 3 and 9 years old to select one of the cars, which one do you think they're going to choose? 99.9% of the time, they're going to select the toy Ferrari. Because they are immature, they don't recognize the value. And this is true about immature project management organizations. They may not recognize the value that a PMO or COE delivers. So to summarize, PMOs and COEs have distinct goals, share some similarities, and provide different services. The business problem that you're attempting to solve will determine the type of PMO framework that needs to be selected for the organization. Perhaps the most compelling reason to consider a COE is that it gets the job done by bringing together a cross-functional group of stakeholders from all levels within the organization and giving them the space to focus their talents and expertise on a single process area, business activity, or capability. In my experience, doing this for an extended period of time is a pretty simple formula for success, no matter the organizational context. There are pitfalls, of course, but when given the right level of executive support, a COE can be a powerful force for organizational change. In closing, a COE drives improvement and change and can provide a competitive advantage for a project management organization or a PMO.
I can see Kris stop sharing his screen. I came here not to scare you, but to actually just thank you. It was honestly very, very wonderful. It was very wonderful to hear you. I'm not a PPM professional whatsoever. I'm a project manager of an entire different thing, but this was honestly very, very insightful. And you're a true professional. You know exactly what you're talking about. And there are actually comments in the section on our right-hand side, but actually, if you allow me, I will post them on our PPM workout platform, and you're a member there already. So if you'd like to, please feel free to respond to the comments, and we'll be adding them there, hopefully after the conference finishes. So it's all in one place, but I really would like to thank you again for accepting the invitation. It's always a pleasure and an honor to host you and to listen to you talk. It was incredible. Thank you so much, Kris.
Thank you, Katie. Hopefully it was an educational experience, for all the participants today.
Definitely. I'm pretty sure it was. Definitely. Thank you so much.